This one's for all three of you. If you could impart a single message to audiences who experience this documentary, what would it be?
Considering the trend of the world, we could all become refugees one day, and we would like to have friends. Because I mean, in my case, really, the Syrian family they were my friends. They just ask you, just can you give us a hand? Can you open the house? Because this is a middle class family from Syria, and they were migrating for economical reasons, obviously, and it could be any of us. And so let's keep an open mind. I'm gonna ask them, why do you don't like them? Why you don't want them? Let's sit down with them. Let's make this bridge happen. Let's not call them racist. Let's not call them names, because it doesn't help. We just have to sit together and like go over the fear and the irrational behaviors. So that's what I would say.
It's not an easy question to answer. I think that I would like for people to watch the film and have a sense of complexity, have a sense of the medieval mosaic, that these issues are not made by one big story, two big stories. This is really the mosaic of many different parts. And if we're not able to see the small part, it's impossible even to think about what's the next step. So that's I'm happy if someone usually tells us, oh, so it's made me think, it's very balanced, because it's just the idea that it's not one crisis, it's a major crisis, and like crisis in life, they're made of many different factors and components. So I really hope that the film gives that kind of sense of complexity of the issue.
And of course, my answer is the hardest because they're already used to, so I have less and less words and phrases to use. But for me, the most important thing is that people who see this film not necessarily identify with the characters that are shown, but the fact that they consider these people as people you could meet every day on the bus or the subway or at the restaurant or at the bar. That's my hope. So that these people are not considered like on another planet or on another galaxy, but those are people that you could talk to, and you could get their stories. You could tell them your story. That's my hope.
I'm not remembering Turkish policy toward migration. If they had stayed, if Wael and his family had stayed in Turkey, what would have happened to them? Would they have been deported?
Turkish politics have been very complicated. They have been shifting over the past 5 years. Right now in Turkey, there are more than 3 million Syrian refugees, almost 4, counting. Turkish gives temporary humanitarian visas to Syrian refugees, which does not allow them to work and to access to many services in Turkey. So no, they will not deport them back, but they would have a life that is very, very difficult. Currently, there are 250,000 kids that work in firms, like they produce shoes, they don't go to school. 2 years ago, I lived in Turkey. I was working with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So 2 years ago, the number was 250,000 kids working. By now, it's probably much higher. Women do not work. It's very difficult for women to work, so it's left with men. So the conditions in Turkey have been really, really just difficult for refugees, and some of them end up in prison, taken, so really the only hope was to go to Europe. And right now, it's very difficult to go from Turkey to Greece. However, we should not forget that there are refugees living in the island, and the first island that we saw, Lesbos, and it's one of the worst camp in Europe. It's called the Moria camp. There is the problem of drug addiction. There is no food or medicine, and they are really left on themselves. The UN are left. The volunteers are not there anymore. So the Greek islands are really forgotten right now. And the situation in Turkey is still very difficult.
If you see a family that's hungry, or when the kids get lost, or just how people, the refugees themselves or migrants, are reacting to you filming them or the people around them. And I understand you're trying to capture the story, or capturing the story, but I feel like this or other films where you see people following behind refugees to show the misery and the travel, and not reaching out to help them, especially when they're friends. How is that dynamic?
First of all, our goal was not to depict their misery, because what we thought by meeting them and traveling with them for days and days and weeks was that these people are very resilient, they're very proud of themselves, and much more resilient than we are. And so they didn't need our help on that side, I can tell you for sure. On the other hand, of course, we were ready if something would have happened to ask for rescue for them, if something would have happened to the kids or to the family in general. In terms of the traveling with them was challenging, because we were traveling with 1 million refugees that were crossing the Balkan corridor at that time. And in terms of the borders to cross, they were able to cross the unofficial borders between those 9 countries because of the humanitarian corridor that was set up there. We weren't. So after we were filming them crossing the borders, we would have to walk another 15, 20 kilometers with all the equipment and cross the official border. If we had crossed the previous one, we would have been arrested. So that's what saved us in this situation, is that Sara gave them a satellite cell phone with which they would send us the location via WhatsApp right after they crossed their border. And that was the only way for us to get back in touch with them after we went through the official one.
And also too, that was, I understand when you're talking about the ethical stand. There is a border that you would cross if something major happens. Whilst family crossed, I think we really caught that last week or 10 days when, as you can see in the film, there was an unofficial humanitarian corridor. So actually they would walk, but also there were buses and trains in place, and then there were a lot of stations where there was, as you see, we see, that there was food, and of course it was not a 5-star hotel, but there was this unofficial humanitarian corridor that allowed them to arrive safe, to eat enough, and to drink.
No, I just thought it was fantastic, and I thought you were all so brave to put your lives at risk and for something higher than yourselves. And I stand in awe of you. It's something that I hope to God I never have to face. And the film, to me, reached so deep in me that I thought, will I someday have to take this journey too? I better be open to everything. And I think that your film did that for me. I don't know about other people.
Yes.
And so bravo.
Well, thank you so much. You really, I'm French, so this crisis, this tragedy we've been going through is also very dear to me, and we also are refugees. I'm from Normandy, and we are refugees in Normandy now. So you really brought this closer in a way, not just something going on the radio, you see on TV, but you give it a face, a family, a story, and thank you so much for this film and for reminding us that yes, one day we might also be refugees, and in the past, our family, some of them have been refugees. Thank you so much. I had a quick question. What about, I was thinking about the title, It Will Be Chaos. Can you tell me how you choose the title?
Everybody in Lampedusa was saying it would be chaos, it would be chaos, and then you move to another town and everybody say it would be chaos, it would be chaos. Ironically enough, the title, the working title, for a long time was In the Middle, because it was like in the middle of the sea, in the middle of, global crisis. It was just a working title that stayed for a long time. And when the time came to choose a title, it was inevitable because there was this line, and actually, at a certain point, it was edited in, and it didn't make the cut because the audio was not broadcastable, it was not good quality. So it stayed the title, but it's very representative of the very classic phrase that everybody says.
How do you say it in Italian?
È un casino. È un disastro, è un casino, è un caos.
Oh, okay.
Molti dicono è un caos, è un caos.
Thank you so much.